Why is leadership important? It's the most misunderstood term in business. You go anywhere, there's tons of, quasi folks talking about leadership in the corporate world and leadership training, and let's do this, weekend and rah-rah and think we're doing something. And they get it, most of the times they get it wrong. The private sector gets it wrong. There was a time when, both my grandfathers served in World War II in the military. In that era of when really, once we eliminated draft, before the draft, when we had draft, we had a ton of Americans serving in the military, learning leadership principles in the military, and then coming and applying that in the private sector and carrying that forward is where we saw America at its finest, really, is those leadership principles applied in private sector. But now it's gotten lost because the leaders are, they're coming out of business school and they don't have a lot of experience. They've never learned how to lead anything, let alone manage anything. They've been educated, but that's not leadership. So people think leadership is management. Leadership is not management. In terms of hierarchy, I'd give you these hierarchy. Supervision is the most basic level. Do this, I check off, did you do this? Right? That's simple 101 basic stuff. And you got to start there. You really got to, you have to start, you learn this process by beginning and by doing it. You don't learn it by sitting around thinking about it. Next comes management. Supervision gets your company to here, management gets it to here. Management is about really then training to people to execute systems and processes, overseeing those systems and how they perform, improving those systems. And that's really where management aligns, is with systems. Leadership, though, is what takes it to the great beyond. Leadership is about people. And it's about your culture, it's about your core values, it's about your organization. It is the highest quality you can obtain in your development, allows you to go far beyond what you could ever accomplish alone. I want to share with you, this is the concept that's taught, really introduced in that Army Field Manual. And it's the concept of be, know, do. And it's something that we talk about all the time. Dick Chilton talks about it with me all the time, and we work on it. And this is the model of be, know, do. It's about first learning. How do we lead? How do we develop? We first learn. We learn a duplicatable process. Who here has been through our autocloser program? Raise your hand. Okay, before you went through that, were you comfortable with sales? Were you confident in your sales process, execution, asking people for money? But now any one of you could sit down and bang it out and know you're going to get it done. You know you're going to close the sale, right? How did that change occur? How did you grow? This is how we've grown you. Number one, we've taught you a duplicatable process. We've educated you. Number two, we've reinforced that, and you've complied with practice, practice, practice. We drill hard, and we probably should keep drilling harder, right? That's what we're doing in fun ways with burpees for cash and other things to have pain as well as reward. And then when you practice, you review your results, you get better, you improve. What happens? Now you believe. Now you know you can do it. And you know you can do it anytime, anywhere, any place. That's a perfect example of leading you guys to grow in the be, know, do, and to develop your belief systems, and how that has transformed your confidence in yourselves, transformed your execution in your business, and transformed your life, is through that process. So this is the way we grow. This is the way we grow personally. This is the way we grow others. Be, know, do. Let's talk a little more about that. We start first with be. Be is about character. And character really does define the total you. It gives you the courage to do the right thing regardless of the consequences. How many of you have had to be in a situation where you had to make a call, you knew it was the right call, but it was the most difficult option on the table to face? Okay? And how did you execute? How did you get through it? That's our character. That's what gets us through. And you demonstrate character through your behavior, through doing the right things, regardless of the consequences, even when it's tough. Sometimes the right decision means tearing things down that you spent a long time building. It means looking at things that you accepted as truth and realize they're not, and you've got to change something. It means taking 2 or 3 steps backward to fix something, rebuild, and move forward again. And that's a tough thing. It's a tough thing to the ego, because you put a lot of work, you put a lot of effort, you want to be right. But character is what helps you make the right decisions and make those tough calls. And that's something that we continue to try to develop. And it's something we start with by helping you guys define what's the acronym we teach? CVMVGP, right? CVMVGP. So character starts with our values. Values we talk about: leadership, our loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. If you do your best to execute and make decisions on those values, you will never go wrong in life or business, ever. Ever. And then our attributes. Our mental attributes, our physical attributes. You got to have a lot of stamina and energy to push through and succeed in life and to grow. And our emotional attributes. Can you punch through the tough times? Can you be patient when it's time to be patient? Can you ramp up when it's time to ramp up? It's those emotional skill sets and learning that help us continue as well. And by the way, you don't learn any of these things by sitting on the sidelines or in an easy way. You do them by facing challenges, learning, growing, and overcoming. And you learn them by who you surround yourself with. No. The be, no, do, we move on to know. A leader must have a certain level of knowledge to be competent. You don't have to know everything about everything, but you have to know enough. You have to know enough to plan the strategy, to support your team through execution, and to help them make decisions and adjustments along the way to grow. And it requires 4 domain skills: interpersonal skills, right, how we relate to people. And ultimately, I'll tell you, if I think back on the last several years, where I've seen people grow and where I've seen people fail, poor development in interpersonal skills is I've seen several failures. They fail in their relationships with people, and that's a symptom of a much bigger problem that then really stops their growth. Conceptual. You have to visualize an end before you get there. You have to be able to think and see the future. And we all have that capability. We all have that capability to see that, to imagine that, to use our creative mind. Then we have to understand the tactical pieces. What are the things we do tactically to execute, to start advancing and fulfilling that vision? And how do you hold that vision while working through that process? That's something we talk about, right? Reviewing your 1, 3, 5-year vision, having that immediate focus, those three big rocks for 90 days. And then tactical, that's about execution, getting things done. When you have a perfect plan, it's great until the bullets start flying, right? And it's, ooh, this is not on the plan. There wasn't supposed to be a bullet there. Well, you know what? You got to keep going. You got to find a way to win. You got to find a way to get it done. That's about tactical execution. Lastly, it's about action. It's another place people break down as an action. Action first and foremost, involves influencing. Influencing is about communicating, decision-making, and motivating. You have to do each of those well. Communicate to your team and organization, be able to make decisions, the right decisions quickly. We'll talk more about that in a moment. And you have to be able to motivate them. And motivation comes from, I just gave you this key a minute ago, motivation comes from helping them find their motivation and then guiding and aligning that. Then move into operating. When it's time to get to work, we got to go get things done. We plan, we prep, we execute, and we assess those actions. We assess the results of our actions, we adjust our plan, and we go back to operations. And really, lastly, this is about improving, which true leaders understand this, and they're willing to make the tough calls that are not going to deliver short-term gain, but are ultimately going to lead the organization to a better place long-term. And that's about developing, building, learning, helping everybody grow, not being attached to just the quick fixes.